Hey, hi everyone. Welcome back to the Building Your First App session, which is now part three. Hello everyone. I am Khushi Mahavar, one of the MLH coaches here to host you all at this workshop. We have built a smart contract till now, and today we are going to build some front end and integrate it with our application and for that we're going to use VS Code, MetaMask. We'll need Ganache. I hope you have downloaded your Truffle suite. Hey Greenwiller, hi. Hey Sushmita, hello. Hi folks. So um, so I've done something to reduce that echo voice for VS Code. So now I'm using my father's laptop to do that. Hey, hi Nishit. Hello. What I'm planning is that without wasting any more time, we can actually get started with our workshop. Um, I'll share my screen, and what I'm doing is I'm using my laptop. I'm presenting my screen on a Google Meet platform, on the Google Meet platform, and now I'm presenting it here. Hey, hi, Tindin. The session plan for the third part of the dApp workshop is that we are going to make our front end integrate with our smart contract, deploy it on local blockchain simulator, which is Ganache, and let's see how that goes. I've opened my remix over here, and this is our smart contract we built yesterday. I've added another two functions, which is get task count and function is registered. So this get task count function will be, will help us to get the task count for for that particular user. I have done nothing. I have just, called this mapping. That's it. And for checking whether the user is registered or not, again, I'm just calling this mapping. So this will help us when we are actually, integrating this with the front end. So I'm simply copying this contract. I've opened my VS Code already. So now, if you see, I told you yesterday that we have um, two folders over here. One of them is the client folder, which consists of the entire front end. The other one is the truffle folder. Here you can see we have a contracts folder. So here I do not need this. I'll delete this. Under this contract folder, I'm creating a new contract. I'm naming it as to-do list .sol. Very similar to how you did this process in Remix. Created a new contracts Solidity source file. I'm now pasting this code, whatever we wrote for this smart contract. Hey Shivpreet, no, you're not at all late. Till now, we have just copy pasted our smart contract to VS Code. So very simple. We had set up our VS Code, project on VS Code. So go ahead, open your Truffle folder. Under that, in contracts folder, make a new file with to-do list.sol name, and add this contract. You are good to go now. Um, Make sure you have opened your Ganache. I'm opening a new terminal over here, and we'll try to compile this. Similarly, how we compiled things in Remix, let me open Remix. We used to click over here and compile and check whether this our smart contract was working fine. So here also I'm simply going to, first of all navigate to the truffle folder. I'm here in this truffle folder. Now I'll write truffle compile. I'm trying to compile and check if the smart contract is working fine, or else it might have some errors which we can resolve. So let us check. Let us also check over here. I'll compile it, and it's compiling fine. So here also it should compile fine, and it already says compiled successfully. So this is how you can use to compile. Yes, I think I should have told you this earlier. So I am using Yes. So I'm using this Solidity extension from Juan Blanco. So you can use this one. Right. So now I compiled this folder, this file, smart contract file. Hey, hello. So now let us also try to migrate it the same way we migrated this contract yesterday. So remember, to migrate this contract, you will have to change things from this migrations folder. Here I'm first of all, I am renaming this instead of you know so you can name it whatever. I'm naming it this way because number one means, first of all, this contract should be deployed. Imagine if you have multiple contracts and you want to deploy this particular contract first. So you write number one for this contract. I'm writing to do this.swl, not .js. Yes. So just edit the things over here. I know my contract name is to do list, right? Yes. And I will have to edit over here, also over here. Now let me just write to do list, and here also to do list. And forgot one thing. Let's go back to client and open SRC folder. Under that, open your context folder. In that, each provide.jsx. Here, check in this use effect hook which date.json contract file is being called. I want to do list.json to be called. Okay, so this is how you write a simple migration, file to migrate a smart contract to Ganache. Now here I'll write truffle migrate. I've already opened my Ganache. First of all, let's create, quick start to a quick start Ethereum. Let me just set up this Ganache first. So yes, sure. So in the first workshop, we learned a little bit. We got an overview about blockchain, about dApps, and we learned Solidity basics so that we can actually write a smart contract. In the second workshop, we wrote a smart contract for a to-do application, and today in the third workshop, we are trying to deploy this smart contract we have written on Ganache, and where we will write some code to integrate front end for the same. So that's it. That's something we are gonna do today. So I've opened my Ganache. Now I'll simply do a truffle migrate. I've noticed that I'm already in my truffle folder, so I'm not navigating to the truffle folder again. It first of all compiles your contracts, checks if if it compiles successfully, and then it will just simply deploy it. This is how it's deploying. It says deploying to-do list. It is also checking how much gas is being used, and at the end it says it's deployed. Right. So also notice a transaction count has happened over here in this first account. This is the account where from which your contract got deployed, and some amount has also been reduced. That's it, folks. You will able to deploy your to-do list smart contract. Now all you have to do is just simply build your front end. So front end, I told you we are going to use React and MUI library. So we have already set up this React directory. Now let us download MUI. Go ahead to your Google Chrome, write MUI library installation. Go ahead to this first link, and you can find this npm or yarn link. Currently, I'm just using npm. And first of all, come back to your root folder and navigate to the clients folder, which consists of your, yes, sure, I'll slow down. So first of all, let me know if you were able to deploy the smart contract. You know what? I'm just a little worried that we might not cover all the things. So that's why I was trying to speed a little bit. But I think we really need to slow down so that you all can also come along, and else I can also if at the end we are not able to cover all the things, So at the end, what we can do, we'll just get a glimpse. Yes, sure, sure. Let's go back there. So let us. I'm killing all of these terminals first. Let's kill this. Yes. So I'm here at my root folder, right? Let me navigate to the truffle folder first. First of all, notice this thing that the client folder is something which handles your front end code. The truffle folder is something which handles your back end code. Very similar to server and client, if you understand that. And here in the truffle, you have your contracts, your migration folder, scripts, and test folder. So we discussed about this yesterday that contracts folder has all the contracts, smart contracts you want. So here I've created a new smartcon.sol file and I've copy pasted the entire code for our to-do list. Also, I've added two more functions, which is the get task count and is registered function. This is registered function is letting us know whether the person is registered or not using this users mapping. And then we have this task count, which is instead of require statement, you remember we had made a modifier. Do we have a modifier here? Yes. So let us just simply add a modifier instead of this. Okay. Only registered user and yes, cool. So instead of writing multiple require statements, I've used this modifier, and you do not need to write this, right? And we're done. So I've simply returned the task count. Now let us navigate to the truffle folder. Navigating, done. Now let me do a simple truffle migrate. Before doing truffle migrate, go under this migrations folder. Check if you have done this. You have changed this piece of code. Copy paste the new functions in the chat, please. Yes, first, but give me a moment because first of all, I'll have to copy paste this in my Google Meet, and then you remember we were facing some issues when I was presenting my screen using the VS Code when I was using VS Code. So now I have some hack to deal with that. I hope this is fine. Um, you can put some indentation and align this again. Great, great. So this is the piece of code. Also, you can refer to the GitHub repository I shared with you all. So it's to-do list. Lots of work. Anytime you're stuck, refer to this. Great. So now let us create a migration file under the migration folder. I've named this file as one underscore deploy to-do list.js. You can name it other way as you feel as two, but usually this is the way how you write a migration file, right? And this number signifies that this contract. Imagine if I had another contract over here, then which contract was supposed to get deployed first? So I want this contract with the number one, as the name to get deployed first. So for the second contract, I could have written to underscore deploy blah blah blah. I hope that gives you a glimpse. So here what I've done, just simply edit whatever was written for simple storage.sol. Simply write to-do list, give this name to-do list over here and write this in this require statement, the name of your smart contract, which is to-do list for me because I named my smart contract as to-do list. Fine. And now, when deploying this function, write the variable name you have created, which is to-do list. And that's it. You are good to go and migrate this file. Make sure you have opened your Ganache already. I've opened it. Now I'm doing a truffle migrate again. Just clicked and enter. Yes. So if we are using this React directory, prior setup. So also make sure in client folder, go to the src folder. In that, go to the context folder and go move to the ethprovider.jsx. Here you'll observe that simple storage.json might be written over here, which is the default contract. So instead of that, just write the name of your contract and add a .json. I hope that will make you understand. Okay, and observe that here the contract has been deployed successfully, and it also tells us how much cost was required over here. Now move ahead to your Ganache and see your transaction count must be 1 minus 2 because I deployed it twice, right? And you can also see some ether has been reduced from my account. And if you want to see explore more, go ahead to this transactions. Check out this that it says that I've created contract twice, and thus it shows me two transactions. Also in this blocks, you can see that whenever I start the Ethereum, blockchain, first block, which is block zero, is mined, and whenever I make a new transaction, I keep on making new transactions. Another block gets mined. So that is how you can actually observe how things are happening in this local blockchain simulator. So just give me a thumbs up if you have an idea of how you can deploy this smart contract on Ganache. And then we can actually move ahead and write some code for our front end. And I'll try to move slow. I need not worry whether we'll be able to cover. Okay, great. Great. Thank you so much, Amber. Thank you so much, Shivpreet, for the confirmation. Now, as I said, what we're planning to do is that we will use React and MUI library. MUI library is nothing but, think of this as something which makes our task easier in terms of CSS. Instead of writing, entire CSS, it's kind of bootstrap if you think. So it will allow you to simply use the components which MUI library already has. Right? I'll give you a glimpse of that also. But first of all, open a new terminal in your VS Code. I've copied this link. Go ahead to Google, search for MUI library installation. You can use npm or yarn to set up your um, installation. I've copied this from here, and now I've opened a new terminal. I'm navigating to the client folder, which is my front end folder, and I'm copying this command. Just click and enter, and it will install all your MUI dependencies you'll need today. So let it do its work. Meanwhile, what I'm planning to do, I'm deleting all of these um, components which are because of the boilerplate code. I'm deleting all of these because I know I'll not need them. Will have to create my own components. Simply go ahead, delete all of this. Great, deleted. Now I have oops, did I also delete? Uh-oh. I deleted the components folder also. I have it back. So my components folder is back now. And yes, great. Now, what do we do? I'll also in app.jsx remove all of this, remove all of this, just leave ETH provider. That's it. Fine. Now, go to the components folder, click new file, and create a new folder. Let us name this folder as register user registration dot JSX, right? So here, as we discussed yesterday, that in React, the page components are divided into pieces, and these pieces are called components. For example, imagine you have a landing page, and it has header, it has a hero banner section, it has an about us section, it has a contact us section, and then it has footer. So These all of these components are stored somewhere else, that is, for example, in the components folder in forms of pieces. So here I am just creating a user registration card where the user will be able to register himself. And for the next component, we can create a to-do list table maybe, or yes, and display all the tasks. So first of all, let's get started with the user registration component. Here, what I'm trying to do is, first of all, I'll create a React functional export component. You can simply write RFCE, which is a shortcut for you to create a functional component. And I'm removing this from here. And go to your app.jsx. In that, import this file which you are creating. Let me import user registration.jsx, and it automatically was imported from the components folder. I hope you are all along with me, right? Okay, I'll first of all cross this so that makes easier for you all. Great. And now that you have imported this user registration, simply call this with the name what you have imported it with. So I've imported this file user registration.jsx as the name user registration. I'm creating a tag for that, which is my component, and that's it. Now, whatever you write over here will be displayed in this component. Whatever tags or whatever images you add over here will be displayed in this component. I'm already in my client folder. Let us do an npm start. Great. So let me click over here. What did we write in our user.jsx? Some random. Okay, let's write hello world instead. Great. Now let us see. Yes, it does show hello world. Not sure if you're able to see that. Very small over here. But it's showing whatever you write over here. So whatever tags you're gonna write here, you'll be able to see on that add.jsx, because you have called this component. Right. So now let us write some piece of code here, and let me tell you that in this return statement, you'll have to wrap all of all of your things in a tag. You cannot put this directly, um such as div. I hope you understand that. I need not explain. So you'll have to nest all your tags inside these brackets. Right. So let us get started. But first of all, let me explain you. um, will it get enlarged? No. So first of all, let me tell you that when you are using, when you are using creating this Web3 website or dApp, you'll first of all have to, you'll need those accounts, you'll need the details of contract which is getting deployed. So this what I'm writing over here, this will allow you to, extract details of the account and fetch values of the contract, fetch the details of the contract. So first of all, for that you'll need the use ETH hook. You remember in this context folder, go ahead, check out this use ETH hook. This use ETH hook will give us the details of the contract, will give us the details of the accounts which are linked to this dApp, this particular dApp. So I'm importing this use ETH from context folder, and I know it's inside this. Yes. So I've simply imported use ETH over here, and now I'm gonna extract the details of the account. This is actually the syntax how you write. So I'm gonna extract details of contract and accounts, and that's it. I'll write the use ETH hook over there. Do not put so much mind over here if you're not able to understand what exactly is happening. But this is Think of this as a syntax, which is how you will be able to interact with the contract and accounts. So now that's done. Forget about it. You have done that. Move ahead. Let us start building our smart contract. So, first of all, as I said, what I want in my smart contract, I want the user registration section. In this user registration section, I want a card. So, I'm planning that first of all, I'll add a card, and inside that, I'll add a title user registration. And under that, I'll add some text fields where the user can enter his name. Remember, check out our Solidity file for the user registration process. What all parameters are you taking? Write down quickly in the comments so that we can understand what all inputs we need to take from the user. So if you observe over here, yes, great green willow, awesome. You're going super great. And then yes, Amber. So here we just simply need to take the username as the input from the user. So let us go back to our user registration. First of all, let's create a card. So let me quickly open MUI for you all. Check out this list over here. MUI has its own components. Here, MUI has its own button. So if you use the button tag of MUI, it will provide you button in such way which is already designed, and you need not design it. You can customize it in your own way, but you need not set up the border radius and then make it colorful or something else, or give some padding. It's already designed for you. So similarly, I'm using card. Let me. Here is the card. So this is the card actually which I'm using. This card is very similar to a div section, or yes, a div actually. The only difference is that it has some border radius and some shadow at the below. Right. So let me go back to this. But you'll also have to import card. Since you're using card, you'll also have to import card from MUI dependency, which is @MUI material. So not all the time you'll have to write this, because VS Code will allow you to automatically, find this. I'm sorry. Now that you have written a card, let us use div instead to make you feel familiar. Um, Now, just as similarly, you have H1, H2, and paragraph tags. MUI has typography tag. So, typography allows you to simply write anything you want and design it in any way. So, typography has been imported automatically. I'll simply write user registration. And for customizing things, I'm adding just the way you add style property, I'm adding SX property over here. And now I've already written what all I need to write. I want to increase the border radius to 10 pixel, and I have planned that this width should be 30%. Yes. And then, oops, is it fine? Yes. And then I know I want the padding as 20 pixel and margin from the top as 80 pixel. This is simple CSS. So don't worry if you are getting confused with this. Let us check out what is happening on our web page. See this. We have this card. It has some border radius. It has some shadow under it. And since we have written user registration, my user is also coming. Did we write user also? Yes, we did write user, but we do not want user here. So typography is also writing it in the same way as we write for p tag. But I want to make it a little better. I'm adding some attributes to design it in my way. You can do that in your way. I'm using SX tag, very similar to the style, or not a tag, or SX attribute, very similar to the style attribute, which helps you to style your HTML components. and just making it a little bold. Done. Yes, it is the way I wanted it to be. Great. Now let us do what? Let us add some text fields. So for this, I am creating another div just as a wrapper function, and I'm adding a text field. Yes. So just the same way you have input tag, here I'm using text field. You can use input tag also, no worries. And I'm giving this as the label to this, which is your name. I want this to be done. Then the value, I'll set the value. Let's set the value later. And then what do I want to do? Add some attributes so that my text box looks like whatever I want it to look like. I know it should be outlined. Yes, great. Putting it as full width. Um, Also, let me just add input props. Styling this, whatever I'll write inside the text box. Increasing the font size. Input label props should also have their own font size. Awesome. Closing this tab. Great. Close. Let us check out what happened. Now you see MetaMask RPC error request of type wallet request permissions already pending for origin. I'm getting this error in console. You're getting this error in console. Um, Greenwillow, do you remember that yesterday we set up our MetaMask using this Ganache RPC URL? Are you sure that you did that? If you did, let me show you this again. I'll first of all log in. I'm not connecting any accounts right now. Let me expand this. So, Greenwillow, what you will have to do, go here, add a new network. Go below, add a network manually. Name your network whatever you want. I have named it my network. Then you will have to add a RPC URL, which is this Ganache RPC URL. Just copy this URL, whatever you're getting over here. My port number is 7545. So that's it. If you're getting 8545, it's fine. Just copy and paste this URL over here. The chain ID to connect MetaMask and Ganache by default is 1337. Connect this currency symbol, you can write ETH, which is Ether, and you can simply save it. That's it. You'll be able to connect your Ganache with, and I don't think it will give you any RPC error. And let me confirm more of the things with you. Go ahead in your truffle config.js inside truffle folder. In this uncommon create, I also make sure what I'm make sure you have done this what I'm telling right now. Put this host link over here and the port number from your Ganache URL, and leave this as it is. You can also add this network ID, which I know is 5777 from here. Let us add this also. Okay, it should be in quotes. Adding this. And in each provider.jsx, which is inside the context folder, make sure that here this link has the same port number as what your Ganache has. That's it. You're good to go with this then. Great. Thank you. So let us. So we were observing that our input is working fine. It's displaying fine. What else do you think we need now, as per from the view of a user? I'll open this page. I'll write my name. What else do I need? I'll need a button to register actually, right? So let us create a button. Okay. So here I'm writing. So what I've done, I've created my custom button. Um, so I'll quickly copy paste it, or let it be. Just let us use. No, I'll instead of that I can copy paste. Let me just quickly copy paste that custom button which I have designed. Um, I should have done this already. Great. So under this components, I'll add my custom button. I have designed my own button. So I'm gonna use that. But if you just want to use the simple button of HTML or MUI, you can use that. So I'll first of all import the custom button I've made. Custom button. That's it. And I'll call this in my wrapper div custom button. And okay, let me just explain what I have done over here. So here, I have passed these props. Text has been passed, and whatever now I want to display in this button, I'll simply write pass this value in the text. So I'll write register yourself, and then I have also passed this handle click function. So I'll write handle click, and then but before I handle do a handle click, I'll first of all have to create my function for that. And we'll also have to whenever the user goes over here and he tries to write his name and registers, we'll also have to take this input value. So for that, let us use hooks. So don't worry if you do not know hooks. Just notice what I am doing, and you'll be able to understand what's happening. So let us create some hooks. Great. So here, check out this that I have used a use state hook, which will help us to set the username and use the value of this username. And the next step would be to create a function. So now let us create a function over here which will handle user registration. Handle user registration. So this I'm creating an async function here. So what does async function actually do? Asynchronous functions help you to allow you to add an await keyword. So if you have worked with databases, or if you have worked with APIs, you might not you might be knowing this already, that you use async functions because that they allow you to add an await keyword, and this function will wait till some promise is done. I'm getting a warning saying contract and accounts is never used, and the front end is not showing. Contract and accounts is never assigned, is assigned but never used. Right. So because I might also be getting this. See, I'm also getting this warning because we have actually not see, check out this. I'm getting this warning as well because we have not used contract and accounts anywhere right now, but we will use when we create this handle user registration function. And front end is not showing. Is that a problem? Go ahead to app.jsx, and here make sure you have called the component you are creating. The new component you have created. I've created user registration.jsx, so I've imported this component and called it over here. Imported as you use. ETH will not found possible exports. I know where you're get going wrong. You know, check this you import statement. Instead of adding braces here, do not add braces. I think this should cover your problem. Try doing this shift break if this is why you're facing problem. So let us handle user registration through our function. Creating an async function. Path was wrong, right? That could be the reason. Check out the path. You have to import it from context folder. Great, awesome, awesome. Now let us. My cursor is not working. Fine. Now let us create an async function. This is the syntax how you do how you create an async function. Now what I'm gonna do is use try catch block. So if you are familiar to Java, or if you are have studied Java and other familiar languages, you might be knowing try catch. So try will handle catch will handle any errors if they if this program fails. So in try, I'll write some code. First of all, we have observed that we have set this. We have created a variable username, and we have use this set username to set the username. Let us set that username as well. So I know the value I'm gonna get from text field is the username. Is this it's this value which I'm gonna get, right? So I'm writing value is equal to username here. The next step I want to do is that whenever this value gets changed, what I want to do that this value should be get set as the username. So now let me create this event. Set username as what? E dot target dot value. Value is the username, right? This value is the username, and we are setting this value as the username here. Great, we have done that. Okay, cool. So we have done this, and now let me see what is the next thing we want to do. Now is the time when we will have to, interact with our SOL folder, SOL file. Okay. So you remember we have added this required condition in our smart contract, which says that the user must not be registered before registering himself. So we'll have to check this. If we do not check this, the smart contract will not execute this for sure. But if we check this condition, we might give the user a better experience. For example, think of this that you are registered already, and now you try to register yourself again, and it will simply go ahead and your transaction will fail. Instead of that, we can show the show this from the user web page that you are registered already, do not make this transaction, right? Instead of user going ahead making a transaction and failing that transaction, we can simply show him that you're already registered. So for that, let us use this is registered function we have created. Let us call this function and check if the user is already registered. We can provide him an alert that you're already registered. So for this, I'm creating a variable is registered, and now to extract the value of this, to call this function, to call this is registered function, I'm going to use make the use of contract and accounts. So since I'm dealing with contract, now I'll have to make the use of this. So first of all, I'll call this await keyword, and now what I'm going to do, I'll write contract. Since I want to interact with the contract, I'm writing contract. Next, what do I want to do? I want to interact with this function. We also call methods. We also call functions as methods. So this is one of the methods I want to interact with, so that I can get the registration status. So I'll write methods, right? The next step for me would be to call that the function I need. I need this function is registered function. So I've written that. Does this function need some parameter? No, it doesn't. So I'm simply gonna leave it as it is. And now the next step would be, what am I doing over here? Am I doing a transaction, or am I calling some value? Let me know in the comments. Are we making some transaction? Are we sending some value to our state variables, or are we just yes, we are exactly, we are just calling value. So let us write call from which account? From account zeroth account. The person can have multiple accounts. um, Hey, I so wish I could. Actually, the problem is, when I was streaming through my laptop, it was giving me, the lag in my voice. So now I have done this hack that I'm sharing my screen on this Google Meet, and through my father's laptop, I am using the StreamYard. So I don't think, if you have any idea of how I can actually increase the size of presentation. Is it better now? Did it just got better? It got better. Can we increase it more, if you have any idea? Yes, it got actually got better. Now it's good. Great, great. Please bear with me for today. And I am so thankful to my dad that he allowed me to use his laptop. So great. Yes. So now that we have done this, but let us get back to this again, and please allow me to have some water. Awesome. So we have created a variable which is registered. I have used the await keyword so that I can wait till this I am able to interact with my contract. Until and unless I am not able to interact with my contract, this entire function would wait, right? That's why I'm using an await keyword. Now I've used contract. Then I know from the contract, from the smart contract, I need to call a function. So I've written methods. And then what function do I need to call? I need to check the status, whether the user is registered or not. So I'm calling this function, which is function is registered. So I've written is registered. It doesn't have any parameters, so I'm leaving this empty. And now, since you all know that we are making a call transaction, so I wrote call. And from which account are we making the call transaction? From the first account of the user. So that's why I've written zero. If you understand zero and indexing in arrays, that's why we are doing that. I hope you get that, right? Now, um, this entire thing, this function will give us the value either true or false. So we'll get it true or false. So if I know, if if the registration is status is false, then only we should execute, then only we should register this person, else not. So let us check, if the user is registered, if user is registered already. If this is true, then let us show an alert, user registered already. Else, yes, um, else what do we need to do? Else let us register the user. So I am gonna make a send transaction to the smart contract now. Now, first of all, we had called this function. Now let us call register user function. Right? We have made the check of this condition. We have passed an alert if the user is not registered. Now let us send values to this function. So I know I'll have to send the username, and I've already set the username using use state hook from my text input. Now let me again interact with my contract. Call the methods function. Which function do I need to call now? Register user function. Make sure you write the correct spelling, the correct cases. Register user function. Does this register user function need some parameter? Yes, it does. And I know it will require the username here. And I've already set the username. So I'll simply pass this username. And now I'm making a send transaction and sending some value from my accounts zeroth account. That's it. You have sent some value, and now once I have sent some value, I want my text input to get empty. You know, once I write some value, for example, I wrote this, I click this. I want as soon as I've registered myself, this to go empty. Right? This should by default go empty when I'm, why should I've registered and it still shows this, then it would be stupid. So instead of that, I'm, emptying this username in the text box, and I'm showing an alert that user registered successfully. Great. So we have done this. Also, let's um, catch any error if comes. We'll do a console.log error dot message. Fine. And now that we have created our handle user registration function, let us also let the button handle it. So I had created handle click, prop over here. You can use on click instead if you want. So I can also share this custom button.js, but you can also copy it from GitHub if you want. So now let me call handle click function, and now I know I just need to call my handle user registration, and that's it. We seem good to go. Let us check if it's actually working. We have set the username value. We have done this on change also. Great. I think we are good to go and register our user. I'm going to my page. Let me check. I had deployed this contract. Did we make any changes to the contract? No, we didn't. So I need not deploy it again. Let me register first of all. What do we need to do now? I'll need some account in my, some ether in my accounts, and let me just import an account so that I have some ether. Well, first of all, I'll expand it. Go over here, import an account. I've copied the private key already, pasting it here, import it. It shows 100 ether. So right now I'm using account number 9. Let us also connect account number 9 with our Web3 website, connecting it, and it says connected over here. Right? So it's connected. Let me register myself with the name Khushi. Register yourself, and um, we can, check out this MetaMask is opening by itself, and let us just simply confirm this transaction. Transaction gets confirmed automatically. User gets registered successfully, and we're done. You registered the user right now. Give me a moment, folks. Hey Kunal, to address your query, I'll really, encourage you to check out this website. And if you have any queries, you can also reach out to us on Discord. So this is something which will let you know, which will give you some glimpse about fellowship program of MLH. It is a 12-week alternative internship program. So here you observe that we were able to register ourselves. Now this account number 9 from which I was using my tab is already registered. Now let us try registering itself or registering again through this account by the name MLH. Register yourself. User registered already. So that means I have already made one account from this account number 9. So I cannot register myself again. You get that? So my alert is working completely fine here. If user is registered already, it shows user registered already. Else, it is setting the value. It's sending the value of my name, setting me, registering me, and sending an alert that user has been registered successfully. So just folks, give me a thumbs up if you are working along with me, if you're getting what discussing over here. Else, we will go back through what we have done and you made the account and connected, but it's not registering. Okay. So, Shivpreet, did you import the account? I believe you imported the account and have already connected. Your account has some ether. So there, I believe it might not be registering. Your button might not be working because you might not have created handle user registration. Or if you have already created handle user registration function, remember to add this over here. Your button should be able to add an on click function or add handle click function so that your button is able to handle this. I'll wait for you to let me know if you understood what we are talking about here. Okay, great. So awesome. So great, folks. I'm so happy that you're understanding what's happening over here. So congratulations, you have registered the user successfully. Also, let me tell you some problems in this right now. Let us import another account. There's just one problem we can handle. I'm importing another account and then I'll use that account to interact with my tab. Imported this account, it's account number 10 now. Let us connect account number 10. Connected. Now, I'm not writing anything over here and I'm registering myself. And the transaction is still happening. Do you think this should happen? If I register myself without any name, that should not have worked. So let us do this inside the try catch block, inside the try block. First of all, write out if the username is empty. If the username does not even exist, put an alert. Put some error. What error this should be? Throw error that enter the username. Yes, right. Now let us check that. I'm connected to account 10. I have not registered myself before with account 10, so it should accept. I'm not writing anything over here. I'm trying to register. It's not even getting clicked. What did we do wrong? If yes, that's right. Show new error. Hmm. What did we do wrong over here? Okay, I know. We have written console.log here. So let us check at console. if I try to register myself, it says enter username, right? So instead of writing console.log, let us do this alert instead. Fine. Now that I try to register myself, it says enter the username. Fine. Now, if I'm registering myself with this username, register, and the transaction happens quite smoothly, and it says user registered successful. So now, great folks, you have done with the user registration process, and we are good to go and start our to-do task, you know, component. So go ahead, create a new file and the components folder, name it as to-do list .jsx or something else. To-do list is fine. Create another functional component over here. Created a functional component. I use the shortcut RFCE. So we have created another functional component. I've created an empty tag inside which we can write our code. Now, first, what is the first process? First of all, we will import our use ETH hook so that we are able to use our details of contract and accounts. So this is my path of use ETH hook. Now, what I want to do is I'll write constant and state, and what all values am I extracting? I'm extracting contract accounts, and then I'm using use ETH hook for that, right? And now what should be the next thing to do? First of all, let us plan what all things we want to do in this. So we want to show what I'm planning to do here also. I'm planning to show a card, and in that card, what a card, and in that card we can display a heading to-do list, your to-do list, and then under that we can show the entire to-do list with all the tasks, with all different tasks, and at the end we can have let's say a section, a component section, a section to add a new task, right? So we can also have done this through creating a dialog box to add a new task, but that could have complicated the things. Let's keep it simple for now. So let us create a card. Inside that, first of all, give a heading, and then create a table for the tasks. So I am creating a card, calling the card component from MUI. Done that. Now using div as a wrapper to add my title. I'm using typography for adding the title. The title should be your to-do list. Now just allow me to add some styling so that we can make it a little bit appealing at least. Order radius 10 pixels. Oh, let's simply copy that. We had written the same style over here. Great. Copied, pasted it over here. So let's do the same thing for our title. Copied, pasted it over here. Now, actually, the plan is to, whenever the user registers himself, he should be directed to the page of his to-do list, which will be his home page apparently. But right now, let us not do, start with routing. Routing can be done later as well. So I'm planning to, simply show the to-do list over here now after the user is registered. if time allows us to do routing today, we'll also do routing. So let me call my to-do list component, call to-do list over here. Let us check if it's actually showing in this. Yes, it does show. The card is visible over here, and then we have your to-do list. Right, that means it's working fine. I know this is in the left. We can also center that, but that's something which can be done later also. So we have this set up our title. Now the next part which I want to do is create a table. So I'll use the table component of MUI. You can simply create table using an HTML process also, but I'm using that which because it is already easier to do and sets me with the CSS. Now, our table header should have what all details. I want, we know that our task has what? Our task has a task ID, our task has a task description, and the thing our task should have the state of its completion. So that should be a header. And at the fourth header, I'm planning to write a delete, the function to delete it. So let us check out how we're doing that. So I'm simply creating a table row. Yes. And then we have table cells. First of all, we have task ID. Oops. Then we have task description. Then we have uh, right. Um, complete. Let us just write completed. Makes sense. Table cell and delete. So check out how it's displaying here. Oh, it's not even displaying. Did we not close some tag? What did we do wrong over here? For sure, there's something wrong which we are doing. That's why it's not displaying. Nothing is being displayed. I see. Table body. We have not imported table. We have not imported table row. We have not imported table cell as it has been imported. Table body. Yes, let us instead check. First of all, we can also check over here. Table head is not defined. Table head. What else is not defined? Should compile fine. Yes, it does compile fine. Yes. So now we have this header, task ID, we have this task description, completed and delete. Now what I plan to do is that under this task ID we'll be able to list down the task number. Here under this the task description of course, and here I'm planning to add checkbox for each task. So if my first task, if I want to check it, if I want to say that it has been completed, I'll simply click on that checkbox button and complete. Then I'll have a delete button for each of the tasks, right? So that is something I'm planning to do. So before I write my table body, I write my delete button, I write my checkbox button. I am first of all planning to make this functionality for the user to be able to add tasks first. So for that, let us create a new div to act as a wrapper. Also, instead of div, we have box in MUI. So we can also use that, adding some margin top, because I know I'll need that. And To add the okay, let's talk about how you'll add how the user will add his task. So check out this SOL function. What all parameters do you need to add a task? You need description. You just need the description. So what all what how many text box will you need in this to-do list function to add a new task for the user to be able to add a new task? Just one input. You'll have to just add one text box that is for the user description. So I am creating a text box. I'm creating a text field actually. So here I'll simply write the label. I can also create it as a self-closing tag, so no problem. So I'll write the label. I want this to be task description, right? Or you can name it somewhere something else also. I am just writing some attributes. Okay, I can copy. Yeah. Why do I forget? I have the opportunity to copy all the things from here. Great. I'm copying all the attributes. Copied here. I'll now simply change. I'll writing new task. You can write anything. I know I'll have to change this value. I'll know I'll have to set this thing again on change thing. Commenting it. That's why, and we are good to go. I've added a new text field. But did we import text field? We didn't. Great. We have imported it. Still an error. Okay. Let me. Box is not defined. Okay. Cool. Let us define box also. Importing box. Imported it. Now I believe it should not give me, yes, it's not giving me any error. So great. Our new task is coming fine over here now. Right? We could also have set CSS for this, but never mind for right now. New task is coming fine. But we'll also need a button. So let us call a button. Here, I'm creating another box which will wrap my button. I am I'm planning to call custom button. So for this custom button, the text should be add a new task, and it should have a handle click function, but we'll have to create a function for that first. So now that you have created a new task, text field, etc. as well, let us actually add a new task. So for this, let us get started with writing some functions. So first of all, give me a thumbs up if you are all along with me, getting what we are doing, so that we can go ahead confidently. So we are going to create some functions here now. We'll create a function to add a new task. We'll create a function to handle the task completion. Another function to handle task deletion. And that's it. I think we'll be good to go. And another function, we'll need a function to fetch the task records. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Shivpreet and Churchill. So I think we are doing fine. So let us get started, and first of all create a handle task function. So to create a handle task function, I'll also have to set the value of description, right? So for that, let me create a use state hook, and let us set the description value use state. And first of all, it should be empty by default. And now let us change the value here. The value should be description. So I'm just setting the value of the text field and changing this setter, which should be set description. Is that fine? So the next process should be to create a function to handle add new task. Fine. Okay, let me just quickly create an async function. And now that we know what all we have to do, we have to, first of all, let's go back to our to-do list.sol. Now, what we want to do that only registered users should be able to add a new task. So, first of all, let us use this is registered function to fetch whether the user is actually registered or not. So I'm quickly gonna, first of all, the best practice is to use try catch so that you can actually catch the errors you're getting. And we can do console.log error dot message, right? So now let us get the value from is registered function whether the person is registered or not. So how did we used to do that? We used to write along with an await keyword, we'll write await contract. We'll fetch the details of contract from here, from which contract. Imagine if you have multiple contracts, you'll actually have to write mention which contract you are interacting with. You'll have to store the details of contract in an array. So that is a little complex thing. We can do that later and understand how that happens. So here then we are calling which function is registered function from our smart contract. This is the function that we are gonna call, and this will give us a boolean value whether true or false. So it doesn't require any parameter, and right now I'm making a call transaction from accounts zeroth account, first account, right? So if the person is already registered, throw new error user already registered. Fine. Else, else if the user is what did we do? If the person is already registered, we actually need to perform this function. Did you all forget? So if the user is already registered, then only you should be able to add the task. So we are doing right now. Else what should happen? Then throw new error that the user is not registered. Right? User is not registered. Show the form. Sure. See, this is the form where user will be able to add a new task. So what I'm trying to do is that if the user is registered, then only he should be able to add new task. Did you want to view the form here or in the code? Okay, I'll get back to you. No, I said we need to show the form if user is registered. Exactly, exactly. So yes, we can do that also. We can choose to display the form or not. But let it be this way: the user can, see the form if he is registered or not right now. But he'll only be able to register himself. He will be only be able to add a new task if he has registered himself already. So great, we'll throw an error. But now that he's registered, let him be able to add a task. So for adding a new task, I'll make a call. I'll actually send the value to this function, which is add task function. What all value do I need to pass? Just the description value. So I'm gonna call add task function, and now I know I've set my value of description through the input text field. So I'm writing the correct name. Yes, add task and description, and make a send to it from accounts of zero. Done with that. Now that you have added a task, let us set the task or set description of the task as null and oh, it looks like the spelling is wrong. And we can also add an alert that new task added successfully. Right? Uh, Good to go. Now, also in this button, here we can add a handle click function now that so that it can handle add new task process. So right now, if I try to add a new task, it will work fine, completely fine. It should work completely fine. So MetaMask is opening, transaction is being confirmed, task is added, has been added successfully. But right now I cannot view anything because I'm not fetching any details. I'm not fetching any details and I am not displaying it in the table right now. So let us keep it as it is for now. So that I'm planning to, first of all create a handle um, task completion function. So now we all know how to create async functions for our interaction with contract. So let us first of all cover this and then we will be able to fetch our tasks also. Console.log error. And did you notice why I was able to add a task? Because I was already registered. Had you know had been this the case that I was not registered, I would not have been able to add a new task. Okay. So great. Now again, I need to check whether the person is registered or not to, handle task completion. Also, this is quite repetitive, I know, but when you will do routing, you can simply check if the user is registered. Then only you will send the user to the to-do list page. Otherwise, you will keep the user on the user registration page. I know that is easier, and I have done that already, but for just for our convenience I'm not doing that right now because it will make things more complex and it will take a little bit of time. So I've added this registered function over here. Also, I'm just checking if the person is registered, then only he'll be able to complete the task. So let us call the complete task function. We have created this function complete. It requires only the task id, right? It requires the task ID for the user to be able to complete the task. So here, let us make the user to be able to complete the task. Now, I know there are some things which you will need. Okay, I'm trying to comment it first, and let us actually fetch the task details instead. For this, I'm creating here some things such as tasks. This will consist of all the entire set of tasks we have. Then we have set tasks. It's actually an array which will have the entire tasks of the user. Fine. So this is correct. Let me just have a go through. We're going good. Let us get the tasks now. Let us fetch the task constant get task record. So we are planning to do completion of task function and deletion function later. First of all, let us fetch the tasks. Async function again. Then I am just writing the same syntax written that. Now what do? We write try catch block the same way we did earlier console.log error dot message. Right? Now in the try, we can again do that if the person is registered, then only we'll be able to view tasks, else not. This is a repetitive thing. I told you can handle this in routing. Now here what do you do? What Let us discuss what we are planning to do here. We know from this function, we can get the task count for that particular user. Um, Let me give you an example. I am a user. I have added right now 5 tasks to my dApp, and then the task count for my mapping must have become 5 now. So I'll fetch the task count. I'll fetch the task count. Now I'll make the use of this function. This function uses the task ID. Now that I know my task count, for example, um, my task count is 5. I also know its task IDs also. I know the task ID starts from 2 and then it will go till 5. So what I'm talking about here is of a for loop which we can use. So for each task ID, we can get the task, save that task in this tasks array, and this tasks array then can be mapped, then can be displayed in the star table body so that we can view all the tasks inside under this header. Are you understanding what's happening here? We'll fetch the task count. Then through that, for each task index, for each task ID, we'll get all the task details, store it in our tasks array, and then display the tasks array in our table. That is what we're trying to do. And yesterday, as we discussed, instead of using a for loop, we can also find some efficient way, and that is something you can do that by yourself. And otherwise, else we can get connect later and talk about that. So I have checked whether the user is registered, and then let me fetch the task count. I'm saving the task count in this variable. To fetch the task count, we all know we'll have to make the use of contract interaction. Using this, hey Priyesh, in this tutorial, we're not planning to update task, but we can actually do that. Um, Now, what I'm planning to do is, add a delete task function, add a add a complete task function, and we have already added a add new task function. So that's all the features we're gonna provide to the user right now. But you can also add update task function and improve the code. So let us fetch the task count. What is the name of the task count function? It is get task count. So let us fetch the task count, get task count. Great. It does not need any parameters. And we are actually doing what? We're making a call. Yes, we are making a call, and then we will be making a use of array to store all the tasks, and then we'll be setting all these tasks here in this. Now I'm starting with my for loop. I is less than what? I is less than, oh, I should start from 1, and I is less than equal to task count, I plus plus, right? And now I'm gonna fetch each task this way. I am going to use what? Get task. That was the name of the function, right? Now we are going to fetch the details of task by using this function get task, and this requires a task ID. What is our task ID now? Our task ID is this I. So first of all, for first iteration, our task ID would be 1. For second iteration, our task ID would be 2, and then this would go ahead till task count, which is for the last example 5. Right, green below, you're correct. So let us get task ID, which is I over here. The parameter should be passed as I, and we are making a call from account 0. Right. Now, what I'm doing is that all of these tasks, for each task, we are create we are finding one task at the first iteration, then another task at the second, till nth iteration. I'm gonna push all these tasks. I'm gonna store all these tasks in an array, and also match their values with the task index. So this task will have three values: task ID, which will be stored at 0th index. This task is actually an array. Think of this as an array, right? So it will have three values: task in ID, task description, and completion status, right? And so this is 0th index, this is one's first index, this is second index. So that is how we are getting the value task description, task of 1. Then we have task what? We just have completed. Remember, we have check out this return task dot task ID, task dot description, task dot completed, which means this is not task description, this is just description. Then we have completed task of second index. Is that right? So that's it. You have your task array, which consists of all the tasks you have, and now you want this to be set as the task array so that you can display these tasks. So let us these set tasks at as task array, and you are good to go to display the function. But what you'll have to do that whenever you add a function, add this new task, or update any of the tasks, whenever you add a new task, whenever you update, by updating I mean whenever you change the completion status of the task, or if you delete any of the tasks, you will have to call this get task function again. So for that, that's why I'm writing this get task, no, handle, what did we name this? Get task records. So we'll have to call get task records every time there is a change. So I'm writing this, I'm calling this function here instead of calling it somewhere else, right? So now up we are done with the handle task record function, but we'll also have to display it over here, and displaying, writing writing table content for each task would be very repetitive. So what we usually do um, in React is that we map these values. So I'll map these values. It's very similar to for loop. I'll map these values for the task index. For index 1, 2, 3. So for index value 1, the details of task index 1 would be shown in that particular table row. For the, task ID 2, that particular data would be shown in that row. So let me do that for you so that you can understand what's happening. Inside the table body, Inside the table body, we'll create a tasks mapping. So this is how you actually do that. So I know I've created tasks over here. These are my tasks. I've already set them. And now I'm gonna map them for each particular task. Right? So, and what do I want to show? I want to show a table row. And that table row should have key as task ID. So I know this is the task, it must have a task ID. So I'm calling the task ID over here. And inside the table row, I want table cell with what? First of all, we have the task ID as the header. So that's why I'll first of all show the task ID. So I know the task ID should be displayed this way. And then we have what table task description. So write task dot description. Then we have I want to show a checkbox. So for checkbox, I am hmm, what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use checkbox of MUI, creating a checks checkbox, right? And I'll add some attributes that it should be checked only if task dot completed is true. So this will be checked only if task dot completed is true, and this should change. You remember we had written this function for handle completion of task. We didn't actually complete it, but so let's leave it as it is right now. And I'm just adding, setting its color as primary. Fine. Yes. And the next table cell should have a delete button. So for now, let me just make the use of custom button instead of making things more complicated. You creating an icon, etc. At line 85, you have given. Oh, you're correct. Is that so? Okay, let's do that. Let's try doing this way also. But it shows me an error already because of this, right? So delete task. Okay, and I want a handle click function which I'll create later because I've not created a delete task function. Now let us complete. I believe this should be this only because I'm getting a syntax error. Uh, we are talking about this one. Yes. So if you're talking about this one, then you are right. Yes. Right. Correct. Agreed. And this was supposed to be primary. Now let us just complete our function for handle task completion and handle task deletion. So for this, did you observe that I'm fetching, I'm not passing any task ID. I want to automatically get this task ID and pass this. See, it's coming out to be now correctly. But since there are some issues, that's why it's not displaying. No problem. We'll correct that if there are any issues. First of all, let's complete our handle task completion function. So now what I'm doing over here, observe that if I click over here, then this function should be get completed for this particular task ID. So I'm not passing the task ID manually over here, but it should get done automatically. So for this, in the async function, I am passing the task ID here instead, right? And let us call our contract, use the methods function, and call a complete function from the contract, which is this one. And it needs task ID as the parameter, which I've already passed in my async function as the parameter. And now let us send the value true from this function. Counts of 0. Great. Now alert task completed. That's it. We have created our handle task completion function also. This get task records should be at the end before the return statement. Right? And now handle task deletion. Async. Again, here also I'm not passing the value of this parameter task ID manually, but I'm just writing this value here so that it can automatically fetch from the table row. Catch error console.log error dot message. Great. Catch spelling is wrong. Now it's right. So we can also again do this thing. It's too repetitive now. Okay. Now here when the person is already registered, he should be able to call the delete function from its contract. So the delete function is delete task. Now I'm calling. I'm so sorry for the disturbance. So I'll simply call this delete task function from the contracts. And what all parameter does it need? Task ID, that's it. And let us send this value from our account out of 0. And I think we're good to go here. We can also display an alert that task has been deleted, task deleted, very simple. Now let me check why that mapping was not working. It is giving us wrong value, right? So we are probably doing something wrong. So would you all want to, debug over here and let us find, first of all, let's add handle task deletion here. Where do we add it? On change, handle task completion. And here, handle click, handle task deletion. Great. So we are done with this, but mapping is causing some errors, and I would really want you all to help me out to find where we are going wrong. We did this correctly. We are creating a new key, and then this table cell which should give us the details of task ID. And this is the task description. This we're getting correctly. So why are we getting this problem over here? You all folks can also, check around with me so that we can debug a problem. I don't think there might be a problem with console. This is fine. And it's filing well. Did we make any error over here? Okay, fine. We fetch the task count. Then this is good. We are using this loop. We are getting the task, we're pushing it in task array, and then we are setting the tasks. This seems fine. This is something where we're going wrong. This we corrected as per shift rate. What else are we going wrong at? Oh, why are we going wrong here? This is not even working. This should work, right? So that means it's there's some problem in our mapping for sure that it's not working. So let us instead of wasting more time to understand where did we go wrong, I'll simply open my original code and let us check that how it would have been working if there were no errors. So I'm quite sure we made some syntax error or something. Just similarly we were making earlier, but error has no. But console does not have any error, Churches. I just checked. It has some warning which we can ignore actually. It does not have any errors. It seems fine to me. Okay, let us first of all do this thing. When I'm clicking, oh, I didn't want this to happen. Cannot read properties of undefined. So I'm getting this error. Let us add a new task and check. Task added successfully. Okay, you see the task is being added, but task values are not being fetched. So let me just check if we made some mistake over here. Get task records. Sure, let us check. But I didn't use length anywhere. I remember we didn't use length anywhere. But I think it is because of our array is empty or something. Okay, let us just check. Can you show the for loop for display? For displaying, the for loop is actually the mapping. This is the mapping for displaying. And this seems quite correct to me. If you all can find out the error, please. Task ID correct. Okay, let me check. This is my um, earlier one. So let me check over here. What mistake are we doing? Here also I have done the same thing, which is correct. Task dot description. Oh, we should have added it this way. That's why we are not getting value. That's so stupid of me. I think this should work fine now. Yes, this is the task name we added now. Right, Shipri. Thank you so much. And we have not used JSX somewhere. Is that so? Where is the need to use JSX? Acha, you're talking about the syntax. Right. Right. So much thank you to you all. So now it's working fine, you see. Let us add a task 10 GHW. Now that we have last day of GHW tomorrow, do a 10 and let us confirm and task is being added successfully. Now let us try. Oh, there is a problem. We're not able to check the task, handle task completion. So we'll have to pass. I think we'll have to pass that parameter over here, task.task ID. Else, how will it get the value, right? So task.task ID, and here also task.task ID. Now it should work fine. Now let us try completing this task, clicking on it, and our MetaMask is opening, task completed, and it shows completed. Right? You understand how it's happening? Now let us try deleting this task, and let's see what happens. Task deleted, and they check out that the serial number of the tasks have also been changed. So that means it's working completely fine. And we can also do a routing. I'll show how I've done routing in my app.jsx. Currently, we have not done routing, but in my original project, I've done routing. So we have used a React Router DOM, and here for this particular path, I've called register user, and for home path, I've called to do list. And now check out register user page. Here I've used use effect hook, and what I've done that if I found that if the user is registered already, navigate him to the home page where he can view his to-do list. Right. So this will happen only when so the user will be able to navigate to the home page and view his task details only when he is registered. Else he'll not be able to navigate to the to-do list page. So I hope you understand how we did this. Let us add a new task and say, not exactly bye bye. Let us first of all get some address some doubts so that we can get cleared with this. We can be a little confident of what we built. I'm waiting for any doubts if you have in the comment section. And meanwhile, I will have a sip of water. So if you get stuck anytime, you can also refer to the GitHub link. And if you find some errors in the code or if you want to improve that code, you can open a pull request. Yes, sure, Churchit, I can do that. Um, okay, just give me a second. I had, I have it here. There you go. So, if folks, if you do not have any more, questions, we can wrap up the session. Let us just simply add a new task and wrap up the session. See ya. Making a new transaction again, confirming it, and task added successfully. And let's bid bye to each other. We'll see you later. Confirm. Task has been completed successfully. So thank you so much, folks, for joining. I hope you enjoyed the workshop. And thank you so much for finding errors and correcting me at the places which I needed your help so much at. Um, right. If you want to connect with me, if you have doubts, what can we do? On Discord, you can reach out to me on Discord personally as well, but we don't actually encourage that. But if you have doubts regarding this particular workshop, you can reach out to me on Discord. My username is Khushi Mahavar. Also on LinkedIn, I'll post my LinkedIn over. It's Khushi. My LinkedIn username is Khushi with a hyphen and then Mahavar, Mahawar. If you want, I can also post it. Then this is my father's laptop, and I'll have to search for my name myself. Yes, here I find myself. There you go. You can also reach out to me on LinkedIn. I could have suggested you to reach out to me on tickets on Discord, MLS Discord, but I don't think coaches have access to GHW tickets. Only the full timers have access to them. So you can, yes, of course, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Else on Discord, my username is Khushi Mahavar. So thank you so much, folks, for joining in. I enjoyed, building this with you all. And thank you so much. Thank you, Amber. Thank you. So my earphones are also died now. Thank you, Shivpreet. So I'll just wrap up the session over here now. Thank you, folks, for joining in. I really enjoyed with you all. Bye bye.